G'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast. My name is Steve Smith, and I'm your host, and I welcome you to another segment of John Deere Golf, Keeper of the Greens. Now, I know you're pumped about this one because I'm pumped about this one in general. It's just awesome. This one is with Superintendent Harry Middleton from Muriwai Golf Links in New Zealand. And I love talking to the New Zealand superintendents because I don't know it that well. So it's fascinating for me. And this one is no different to the ones I've had before. I know you're going to like it, so you might as well sit down and get ready for an absolute ripper of a podcast. And of course, it's supported by partner John Deere. Now, you know about John Deere Golf. You know who they are, and you know that they are big supporters of our industry. And their products and equipment that they have available are designed to help you maintain and manage your golf facilities better. As a superintendent, you're balancing course conditions, staff, machinery, budgets and expectations, often all at once. That's where technology like John Deere Operations Center Pro Golf can genuinely make a difference for you. Pro Golf brings your operation into one place, giving you visibility over machinery usage, maintenance history, and course activity, so you can plan ahead instead of reacting. And as superintendents, there is nothing better than not having to react to things. It's part and parcel of the day, but the less times you have those situations, the more confident you can be managing and maintaining a golf course. Operations Center Pro Golf helps to take the guesswork out of daily decisions and gives you the confidence to back them with real data. Pro Golf is built specifically for golf course operations. Pro Golf supports better scheduling, clearer communication with your team, and simpler reporting for management, which frees up more time to focus on course presentation and the playing surfaces. Now, through practical, superintendent-led technology, John Deere is focusing on moving your game forward and making the day-to-day job easier, supported by a strong dealer network right across Australia and New Zealand. Now, get in touch with your local John Deere dealership to find out more about the Operations Center Pro Golf at johndeere.com.au. And it's easy to find out exactly where they are. You type in your postcode. If you don't know who your John Deere dealer is, your local John Deere dealer, you just type in your postcode on the website and it will come up with your nearest dealership. It's so easy to find out how. The thing about John Deere is that they know the role of a superintendent continues to evolve, and the tools you use need to evolve with that role. John Deere designs turf solutions that support modern course management, from precision technology to efficient, reliable equipment. It's all about helping superintendents manage their courses with confidence, clarity, and control. And it's designed for today's challenges and tomorrow's expectations. Having John Deere as a partner on this segment, Keeper of the Greens, means a great deal to me. And it also shows me how much John Deere are here to support you in your role and support the greenkeeping industry more broadly, and how you present your golf courses for the wide variety of people that love and enjoy the game of golf. So get out there and check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Tap them on the shoulder, your local rep. Ask them how the Operations Center Pro Golf, for example, can help you out in maintaining and managing your facility better. deere.com.au, deere.com.au, that's the way to do it. Don't waste any time. This is episode number 197. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going international here. We're going across the ditch to New Zealand, where I've got joining a superintendent from Muriwai Golf Links, none other than Harry Middleton. G'day, Harry. How you doing, mate?
Hey, mate. How's things? All good?
Very well, thank you, mate. I appreciate you jumping on for this one, and you've been in my head to get you on this segment for a while. It's great to have you back, and I appreciate you joining in, mate. You're ready to go.
Yeah, good. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Good stuff, mate. Now, before we do, we obviously caught up. It was albeit brief. It was a wild whirlwind in Melbourne, mate, for the conference. You enjoyed yourself coming over for the ASTMA conference this year?
Yeah, it was really good. I came over with a couple other Kiwis, so yeah, it's always good to get over to Australia. It was actually my first time playing golf in Melbourne, which seems a bit crazy how close it was. So, yeah, it was good to tick a few courses off down Mornington and a couple in town. So, yeah, I loved it.
Mate, I can't let you go without diving into that one before we do anything else. Where did you play?
Yeah. Architect Phil T hadn't really played much down in Mornington either. So he said, "Should we shoot down and have a bit of a look?" Some of the courses down there are similar to like the vision we're trying to shoot for at Muriwai. So
Okay.
we played. Where do we go first? St Andrews Beach,
Oh,
which was really cool.
big fan of that place. I love that place.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then we shot over to Portsea and played there, which
Wow.
was pretty impressive.
Yep.
And then played the National,
Oh,
which was cool. We played
jeez.
a bit of a combo of all the courses there, which were pretty. I don't know if we were meant to, but we sort of got lost and found a few faster gaps, so made the most of them.
Why not? Why not? I
Yeah,
imagine you would get lost in that golfing country there at the National. There's plenty of
yeah.
holes altogether.
Yeah, so yeah, that was cool to spend a weekend there prior to the conference.
Wow.
And then we managed to play a couple of the OCM rebuilds that were Huntingdale and
Oh,
Lonsdale as well.
wow. So you went around all the way to the west side, over near Geelong, down
Yeah,
the Bellarine.
yeah. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, got the invite to go over there, and everyone said, "Don't turn it down." And yeah, I was impressed with the sort of the property is very small and had quite a few unique features. They did a pretty wild job of producing what they did there, so it was cool to sort
Wow.
of see it in the footage.
Unreal, mate. That's awesome. That's a great set of courses. And you mentioned Phil T. That's Phil Tatarangi, the professional.
Yeah,
And we're going to talk about him because he's involved with you guys doing design work as part of what's going on there at Muriwai. Looking forward to talking about that as well. Now, mate, awesome. Glad to hear you had such a great time coming over here, which is sensational, and playing some of our. Yeah, look, there's a stack of great golf courses in that list, so lots of people have got them on their list or they've played it as well. So, mate, glad to see you did it and enjoyed it. Now, I start off with Steve's Super 7 questions before we get too much further into talking deep about your career, and this is meant to be a little bit lighthearted, mate. So, let's go with some questions if you're ready to rock and roll. You good to go?
yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Number one. Summer morning or winter morning? Do you have a preference?
Oh, I'd probably go summer morning, but I guess it depends on the state of the golf course.
very, very good, very good. Summer mornings in New Zealand, and we'll talk a little bit about your climate as well, no doubt. Summer mornings are nice. Number two, stripes or no stripes on fairways. Let the drum roll begin.
I'm sort of a big fan of both, but I guess depends on the golf course. 100% no stripes on the links, but then Parklands, yeah,
Okay.
go for gold, eh? They look cool, yeah.
Very good answer, mate. I'm going to put that down in a big tick box. There's not many people that say they don't mind both. So well done. Well
Yeah.
said. Number three, are bunkers becoming less of a hazard, do you think, in your opinion?
Uh, I would say, oh, that's a good question. I feel like on the links courses, they probably, I don't really know how to answer. That's a good
Oh, mate,
question.
there is a, and it's not meant to be a loaded question. So I'm
Yeah.
curious. Okay, what are your thoughts on bunkers as a hazard then?
I think some bunkers are terrible designs and sort of nail the lesser golfer, which I feel like are really penile and probably less enjoyable. But I feel like some of the bunkers that are more strategic can become a big hazard, but they are that obvious you shouldn't go there sort of thing. So I
Yep,
think
yep.
bunkers are a real hard one. We're dealing with that massively at Muriwai at the moment. We've got way too many bunkers that
Okay.
sort of have no strategy behind them. So yeah, a bit of a funny
Interesting.
one with bunkers.
It
Yeah,
sounds like it's very much what you're in the middle of dealing with. And again, we'll talk into that because there's so much going on at Muriwai I'm keen to talk about. So I'm not sure where that people can take out of that answer what they choose.
yeah,
It was very well
yeah.
spread across all parts. I liked it. I liked it. Number four. What's your opinion of green speeds?
Oh, um, yeah. I don't know. I feel like the biggest defense to good golf is a firmness. I feel like you could have the greens at 20 on the stump and Cam Smith will still shoot 60.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I feel like, but if they're firm, you sort of take that control away from them with being able to access different parts of the greens and stuff like that from different angles.
Absolutely do. There's no doubt about it. And that's probably something that is starting to come into a lot more of the golf course preparation and presentation is firmness now. We're talking more about that. Everyone seems to have moved beyond, the early 2000s and the 90s of just getting pace out of things. So good to see. Yeah. Good to see. Good to see you stepped around that too, mate. Well done. Number 5, do you have a favourite grass variety?
Yeah, I guess warm season Cooch is pretty hard to beat. Right climate, it's such a cool grass. And then cool season, I'm pretty old school. I quite like the old brown tops. Pretty hearty and still feel like they're pretty hard to beat with the right maintenance. So yeah.
Okay, all right, very good, and that's probably a little bit into the New Zealand in you, mate, no doubt. We talk to Kiwis, and we talk and hear a lot about brown tops, not so much over here in Australia, so it's very interesting as well. Number 6, we get towards the end. What is the most important tool in your shed, the most important inanimate object in your shed?
In my shed, probably the fuel tank.
You know. That is the most practical. I've had. I don't know where to go with that. That is a fantastic answer, and I kind of, when I first did, this is gold. I'm glad this has worked out this way. When I first, I had a different concept in mind, and Hayden Mead from Kingston Heath hit it on the head with what I was thinking. Since then, you and Brendan, who I just had on in the past from me and the golf club, have both come out with the most practical answers you could imagine. And I was never thinking that when I wrote it. So you know what? This is the whole point of these questions, to see what people think. And the most important, it's the fuel tank. You're probably bang on. I don't know if you've listened to Brendan's. He said the hole changer. And again, the most practical answer going around, because without 2 of those items, the whole thing stops pretty quickly.
Yeah. Pretty hard to replace.
A fuel tank, mate. That's fantastic. I like it. Number 7, we get to the final one. And this might be interesting because of your recent travel. Within Australia and New Zealand, which golf course, not your own, would you recommend people visit, and why?
Oh,
I'm stumping you with all of these. I like this.
Yeah, probably in New Zealand, Taraiti. Probably just
okay.
Yeah, how the boys up there maintain the facility and the presentation of the property, like every day, is pretty mind blowing. Every time I go up there, it gets better, so I'm sort of wondering how will it ever stop, or the boundaries just get pushed. Yeah. It's pretty. I've been lucky enough to play all over the world, and that place is probably yards above the rest of them, even though I've been to some of the best in the world. It's just, I don't know if it's just the climate and how well it's built and the layout. It just all sort of compounds off one another, and it's pretty impressive. Yeah, I'd say Taraiti for me.
Mate, very good to hear, and I'm sure that's not going to be the only time we hear that one. So, mate, thank you for that nomination of Taraiti, and I haven't had the privilege of obviously being in New Zealand myself, but I hear so many people who have been there. It is very much at the top of their trees for many reasons, so good to hear it once again. Harry, mate, that's awesome. Thank you, Steve Super 7. Well done, and great insight for people to pick through. Now, mate, it's time to talk about you, whether you like it or not. That's what we're doing. Mate, I want to hear from you. I love where you work at Muriwai, but for those of us like me who don't know, we see what you're doing now, we see some of the work you're going on and might have met you or caught up with you. But tell us a little bit about, if you don't mind sharing with us, how you get into greenkeeping, because you're Superintendent at Muriwai, got a great name, great golf course, and you're doing some wonderful stuff. But take us back to the beginning of your career. How do you get into greenkeeping, and where does that sort of passion for where you are now sort of evolve evolve as you go through. Step us through your career, mate, to where you are today, please.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to grow up a little bit south of Auckland near Mount Maunganui, which is sort of a nice coastal town, probably about 20 minutes from the mount where it was back then. It's probably more like an hour away now. But
Is
yeah,
that
I
a
played
traffic
golf.
thing, or is that because it moved?
Yeah, traffic and New Zealand roading. Um, yeah, so I played golf like most greenkeepers, I guess, at some stage in their lives. And yeah, in the school holidays, I used to just play a lot of golf and then sort of needed some money occasionally. So yeah, went and started, I guess, just helping the greenkeepers out. I was very young when I started. I didn't even have a driver's license or anything like that.
Yeah, right.
Luckily, health and safety was a little bit
More
less of a
relaxed,
thing back
more
then.
relaxed, as
Yeah,
we could say.
yeah. I remember getting the work ute to like 70 k's down the 15th fairway. It
Holy
felt like I
struth.
was going 170. Yeah, learning how to drive, doing the rubbish. So
Is that a thing? That's a
yeah, that
thing. I did the same thing. I remember being like 16 or 15. No, it was before my license. So I was 15, driving the ute, doing the rubbish run down through the tees.
yeah. Yeah.
That's a thing.
So yeah, pretty much started there. The golf course I grew up was very small though, just like a sort of 2 or 3 man band. And unfortunately, they couldn't offer me apprenticeship at the time. But a course in the Mount reached out and asked if I was interested in doing an apprenticeship. Just I knew a couple of workers there through golf, so yeah, that worked out great. And then spent 3 years doing an apprenticeship at Omanu Golf Club.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was sort of how I properly got started into the industry.
Where's, did you say Omanu?
Yeah, so it's pretty much center of the Mount
Okay.
Maunganui.
Okay.
Yeah,
Righto. Okay.
yeah,
So there's obviously a couple of courses down that way.
yeah. They're pretty much Omanu Golf Club and Mount Maunganui Golf Club are less than a K apart. I'd imagine it's quite
Right.
a busy place, so they both do pretty well. So yeah,
I remember John Spraggs, when I had him on here, he talked about Mount Maunganui as well. I think he did some
yeah.
time there.
I'm pretty sure he was the course super there.
Yeah.
A wee way back. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did three years there. I think one of the years I worked there, it may have had the most rounds played in New Zealand that year.
Far out.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure on that, but it would definitely be up there. And we had a crew of about 5 people, so it was great to be able to do everything within a year or two. I was spraying and
Yeah.
whatever else I was doing, coring, and so I feel like it was a great place to learn to pretty much be able to cover all bases. And yeah, it was cool. I managed to probably break every machine in the shed, and
So you got the most out of your apprenticeship, is what you're saying.
yeah, push the limit. Yeah, luckily the superintendent Jason was very forgiving. So yeah, no, it was a cool time. I still in contact with some of the guys there, and yeah, it was a fun time of my career. Had no responsibilities, and yeah, everything I did was new. So yeah, it was great.
Awesome. Did you see yourself as you got further into your apprenticeship and coming towards the completion of your time? Did you see yourself saying, this is my thing. I want to go places with this. Were you sort of goal driven at all, or you were just happy going along and just and taking it all in as you were and see what would come? Which way were you sort of driven?
Yeah, I played golf to a reasonable level, and for a while I was still playing competitively and doing the greenkeeping, but I think deep down I knew that I wasn't good enough. I had some friends that were a lot better than me, and they went down that route, and it was pretty tough as it is. So yeah, I sort of gave up that dream pretty young, which I'm grateful of now, which sort of helped me sort of progress a bit faster, I guess. Yeah, for some reason I guess I'm lucky in some ways that I've always just really enjoyed greenkeeping and wanted to like the challenge. So yeah, I haven't really looked back in progressing, and still like to progress even more from now, I guess.
Yeah, cool. No, that's very good. So you finished your time off at Omanu, is that right?
Yeah, so I did 3 years there. It was a great 3 years, but I just sort of grew up in the Mount, went to school in the Mount, did my apprenticeship in the Mount. So I was been there for quite a while, and I just sort of got a little bit itchy feet and wanted to sort of get out of town for a little bit, as you do. And for some reason, I went home and just emailed 10 courses in the UK. I didn't even really know much about like what courses were good and bad, and obviously I watched a lot of golf, so you knew the old courses and
Yeah,
the
you got an
St.
idea anyway.
George's. Yeah. So I reached out and just sent a brief cover letter to 10 of them, and didn't really hear back from a whole lot of them, which sort of you'd expect. They probably get a lot of interest, but within about a week, I heard back from St. Andrews, and they said they're interested in having a chat online. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Out of all the ones you emailed, you get St. Andrews in return.
Yeah. So, I was a little bit blown away by that, and very sort of like, wow, it's real. Like, like it could happen.
Yeah.
Gordon Moyer reached out to me. He was sort of running the recruitment back then.
Yep.
And we teed up like an online chat like we're doing now, and I don't think he could understand me, and I couldn't understand him.
How good's his accent? I met him at the Adelaide conference a couple of years ago, and I dead set, apart from saying hello, I struggled. I'm leaning in, and I just, that's a thick accent.
Yeah, it was good, and I was nervous, and to be fair, the chat went pretty bad, and I thought, oh no. But yeah, he said he'll be back in touch, and within a day or two, he sent through a seasonal contract.
Wow.
And I had to go to Jason, my boss, and say, hey, I'm looking to go overseas for the winter. Like, how does that look, sort of thing? And he was great. I went over there, and he held my position open at Omanu Golf Club, and spent a summer over on the old course, which was
wow.
Pretty much. It was pretty surreal turning up there and knowing that I'm going to spend a whole summer there. So
that is astounding, mate. What an experience! What was it like telling your parents you're going? Was that the first time you've been overseas? Like, is that a full move?
Yeah, first time I'd been to Scotland. I was actually born in the UK and moved to New Zealand at a very young age, so I hadn't really spent too much time back there since then. But I think they were pretty sort of proud and excited, I guess, and probably a little bit nervous. I think I was 20 at the time. Yeah.
Wow, what an opportunity, mate. So you're packing bags, getting your passport. I assume you've got to get your passport again if you hadn't been anywhere.
Yeah. So it was cool to sort of plan. Well, it was a few months away, so I had a little bit of time to sort of get my head around it and get planned. But it's sort of hard to plan for something you don't really know what you're going into.
Sure.
So it was a little hope for the best, I guess.
Man, that's unreal. So what was it like first day getting over there? Did you have to sort out your accommodation? Did you have to work out where you're going and unpack, and then like, this is it, I'm here now for the summer?
Yeah, so getting accommodation in St. Andrews itself is really tricky. It's such a small town for what's going on there. So luckily found a flat on sort of Facebook Marketplace, headed up there. And the first day was quite sort of interesting day, but very sort of happy day. And the end of it, I think about 15 seasonals started on the same day as me.
Oh, wow.
We're all sat in a meeting room doing like an induction sort of thing that was completed. And then he went around the room and just said, have you worked on a golf course, or what's your experience? This wasn't Gordon doing the induction. And he came around to me, and I didn't really know if it was a good thing to say, yes, I've worked on a golf course, or no, I haven't. I didn't really know
Sure.
where the question was leading, so I just apprehensively said, yes, I've worked a little bit on a golf course, and he just replied back saying, okay, you're on the old. The next person, oh, you're on the Eden course. So,
Oh,
yeah, when he
what?
said, yeah, you're on the old course, I sort of had to, hold my emotion back a little bit, eh?
That is out of control. Fair income.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
goodness, that is amazing. So before you went to work, you must have gone out there and walked around the golf course before your day one, did you? Did you have time?
Yeah, yeah, I remember sort of straight up behind the 18th green, there's a road that runs directly the same line.
Yep.
And the first time seeing the golf course, I walked down this road and then turned left, and I was sort of stood above the first and the 18th green about 100 metres away, and you could just see straight down 1 and 18. And I sort of just stood there and was like, holy, it's just a wow, sort of, I'm actually here moment, eh?
For sure. Man, I would have just gone straight there with my luggage and all. I would have been too scared to miss the opportunity in case something happens.
Yeah.
That is, what a day one, man, getting allocated to the
Yeah.
old course, not knowing, so it's like a roll of the dice, right? You don't know where you're going to
Yeah.
go. It's all a wonderful opportunity, but to get the old, dead set.
Yeah. And the old course isn't open for play on Sunday, so
Yep.
they sort of said for those that aren't working on the old course, you'll get to work there on Sunday, sort of thing. So it was like to be on there every day. I was just like, yeah, it was probably had its different sort of features to working on the other courses. Probably would have maybe been a little bit more hands-on on the other courses, smaller crews and stuff. But yeah, working on the old course, I don't think you'd say no to, that's for sure.
That is amazing. Not many people from our neck of the woods can say they've done that, mate. That's incredible.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty lucky and grateful, and yeah, still whenever I'm back over that way, I try and pop in and see Gordon and Simon and stuff like that. So yeah, it's great to have those connections.
Oh, mate, unbelievable. What an experience. So you do the summer there? What?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then do you come home? And I want to ask a question. The reason I ask is because I want to ask a question about your time there. So is that time during that summer season finishes, do you come back to New Zealand? Where do you go after that?
Yeah, I came back to New Zealand, back to the job I originally had where I did my
Okay.
apprenticeship. Didn't really, obviously, that was just a fixed term contract in Scotland. So yeah, came back to New Zealand and then carried on from where I was and sort of reassessed from there what I wanted to do next, I guess.
Okay, great. So what do you take away from an incredible experience like that in that short space of time? I imagine every second is a memory, right? What do you take away from something like that? What did you learn? What did you see?
Yeah, it was I sort of went there with I come from a small crew, small club, small machinery fleet. So I sort of went there thinking the world was going to be like flipped on my head and they did things completely different. But I was quite sort of shocked how simple they keep things, I guess. So yeah, it was really sort of, I guess, reassuring and sort of helped me understand that how we did things in New Zealand wasn't far away from how they do things at the very top. I think the biggest thing I took away from it is if you do the right practices for long enough, you'll have the best surface. I think the more you sort of dive into it and make things technical, I think sometimes the harder it is. Their practices were so simple there that it sort of made things easy, and I guess they've been doing that for such a long time. But the only other thing I'd probably say to that would be the climate over there allows simple greenkeeping. It doesn't get extremely hot, and growth isn't extremely crazy for long periods, so that does sort of help the simple practices, I guess.
Yeah, sure. It's not out of control. It's not like it's northern New South Wales or wherever up north where it's a really warm climate that everything's just going nuts all the time. So there's a proper slowdown period. Not too dissimilar, I imagine, to many parts of New Zealand, in effect. Interesting grass types, like you're used to preparing the grasses that you have at Omanu. What was that? How different were they? I don't know what they've even got over there in the UK. I assume it's fescue, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, the old course is quite a mix of everything. I think they don't. I think they probably encourage the brown tops and fescues, but there's no. This is who we are, and we're going to have one grass or two grasses. When you go walk on the fairways, it's just a bit of everything, whatever sort of works. And yeah, they just groom it a lot. And I guess during different periods, some grasses strive more than others and stuff like that. But it's sort of that, I guess, the look you sort of want on an old links, the sort of mottled camo sort of look. It sort of fits in with the terrain around the property, I guess.
So they're not going to be defined by their grass types, like we know that a lot of places hang their hat on the way that they present particular monocultures and so on in different areas, and there's nothing against that either, of course, but different ways of doing things. This is what I wanted to explore with you, what you took away from being over there relative to what you'd known at Mount Maunganui and Omanu. Not knowing where you were going to go next, of course, but interesting notes to take away. And was the crew like enormous? Was there 500 people working the old course, or what's it like?
Yeah, it was. The morning setup was quite fascinating. We had golf very early every day off the first, which some people are going to laugh at me. We still had like 25 greenkeepers or whatever, but it was pretty much like mow the whole golf course every morning sort of setup. Like, it was not quite, I wouldn't say tournament firm and fastness, but it was tournament conditions every day, as in presentation and stuff like that. So yeah, mow fairways pretty much every other day with catches on, and then mowing tees and surrounds every day. And there was still a lot of they have the Dunhill every year, so it was still a lot of preparing like back tees and stuff like that when they get to play them, they're still pure sort of thing, not get left behind, I guess. So yeah, there was a lot of things that your everyday golfer probably wouldn't really notice going on behind the scenes. Yeah,
for sure. Is there? I'm just fantasizing being me there, right? So if I went to the old course, I imagine I would have moments of, this is the road hole. Just stop and just look around and go, holy shit. I'm here. Like, do you stand on the 17th tee and look at it and go, how would I hit a shot around, around the hotel? Or am I going to hit a window or a person or the building, or just snap duck it left into a, double cross myself?
Yeah, I feel like the first, I'd say month, I feel like every day I was just caught myself like just staring at things and just looking, thinking like, wow, I'm actually here. I sort of like watching golf as well, so watching opens there and stuff like that. It's pretty. It did take a month to just actually not think that I'm out on the old course, and also just like the pressure. I remember the first time hand mowing, we went to this nursery that's got like half a metre around it to turn, and then it's just like head-high gorse. So, yeah, you're sort of learning on there. I don't know if that's strategic from them to get you to turn around quickly before bunkers and areas that they don't want you to mow. But, yeah, and then the first day I got put on greens, I started on the first green.
Yeah, right. No pressure.
And the burns right there, and I'm mowing with one of the bosses, so it was like, yeah, it was days like that I don't think I'll ever forget. Yeah,
I can just imagine you doing something around at the Swilkenburn Bridge, or if it was me, all right, I'd be up at the 17th and I'd just hear in the back of my mouth, Steve, it's just a wall and a road. Just get on with it. Hurry up, would you? Hell, bunker, just get over it. It's normal. I would just lose it. And I'm picturing you just standing there. It's just a bridge, Harry. Come on, mate.
Yeah, I think there must be times where the full-timers are going, geez, what are these guys doing? Just mow the grass.
I digress. Mate, what an experience. At the end of it, you got your tickets and you're packing up and you're going home. What was the feeling like to walk away from that experience and take all that with you back home?
Yeah, it was cool. It sort of, I guess once you've been in the same place well, for me, it felt like ages. For some people, it wasn't very long, but it was cool to come back with like sort of a fresh buzz and really sort of energized and sort of you've seen how it's done on the big stage and wanting to bring some things back that I learned and try and implement them somewhere along my career. So yeah, it was really cool to, I guess, I say that to a lot of young guys. They're like, how do I become a super or what would you recommend? And I feel like you don't have to do it this way, but I feel like it's really hard to produce the very best in the world without seeing how the very best in the world do it. And I know it's not the same all over the world, but definitely puts things into perspective. You've been at a small course and you've learned that way of how to do things, and then doing things with 25 people, it definitely puts everything on a sort of scale. So yeah, it
Sure.
was cool to see both ends of the stick, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. How old were you when you did that trip?
I turned 21 in St Andrews, so yeah,
Ah,
I was 20.
stop it.
Yeah.
What did you do for your 21st, Harry? Well, I, I went to the UK, I went to Scotland, and I had my 21st at St Andrews.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So yeah, I was pretty grateful. I don't think I could yeah, I could ask for any better really. Yeah, real grateful to be able to go over there and do that for sure.
My goodness, that's amazing. We can just hang up now. That was awesome. What a great
But
story. I'm happy with that.
everything's gonna be boring now.
So you come home reinvigorated in greenkeeping. You've got an example and an experience of something, the highest of highs, essentially, that we hold. It's a holy grail, more or less, in our industry. What are you thinking now that you're working back at Omanu? Nothing against Omanu, of course, because that's where
Yeah.
it's a course that you've got a lot of passion for, and you're trying to do better in everything that you do, and where you're learning your craft. But you get that, you come back. Are you thinking big things? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I sort of wanted to keep learning. I think the other thing that I learned there was when you're young, you sort of feel like you know everything almost when you know nothing. So yeah, it
Yep.
was cool to
Don't you love your own bubble?
yeah. So
Full
it
of
was good
confidence,
to
going, "Shit, I'm good. Thank you very much. What can we tackle
yeah.
next?" And then you get out in the deep blue sea and go, "Holy shit, I didn't see that coming. I know
Yeah,
nothing."
that was pretty much me in a nutshell. Probably not in a rude way, but probably just from lack of being able to see the big picture. I guess in New Zealand, it's pretty small town
No,
sort of
it's just an
stuff.
experience thing, right? You don't know what
Yeah.
you don't know.
So yeah, I came back to New Zealand. I wanted to progress. Sort of, I was qualified, and I wanted to maybe look at getting a qualified greenkeeper role or foreman role somewhere. And a local course was doing sort of a fairway transition from cool season to couch grass. And they were looking for a qualified greenkeeper. So yeah, moved. It wasn't that far away, maybe 15, 20 minutes away. Moved there for a short time, did maybe 2 or 3 holes of converting to couch, which was a real cool experience. First time working with warm season grass, and on that or working there, I got onto the FTMI, which was in Melbourne.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, which was really cool. Another sort of eye-opening experience. I went over with two Kiwis. Never had been to Melbourne before. We didn't play golf on this trip, unfortunately, but it was a really cool experience. Just meeting a whole lot of other guys in a similar boat to me, all wanting to be, of course, superintendents or stadium managers, and then just giving us a few extra tools on what we might see when we get to these stages and challenges we might face getting these roles. And I met a guy called Leo Barber. He was one of the mentors.
Yeah, right. Of course, a famous man from Paraparaumu Beach.
Yeah, so that was a cool experience. We didn't actually chat too much while we were there. We were sort of in different pods, I guess you'd call it, and staying in different sort of hotels. So we had a few brief chats, but being Kiwis, we sort of kept in touch, I guess, small town. And I sort of did a year and a half at the course that I was at, and a friend of mine was working in Queenstown at the Hills Golf Club where the New Zealand Open was.
Yep.
And I sort of was looking to sort of keep moving forward, and he said, "Why don't you come down for a season in Queenstown?" So sort of thought about it, but not very long, and so went down and worked for Brendan Allen in Queenstown at the Hills Golf Club.
Wow.
And I just had a season there planned, and I didn't really have too many plans after that. I was thinking perhaps maybe I go back to Europe after that season. On the way to Queenstown, I stopped in at Leo's house in Wellington. Sort of just broke up the journey a bit, and said g'day, had a few beers, and carried on. And then about, I don't know, I probably was 3 months into the stint at Queenstown, and I got a phone call from Leo saying, "How would you fancy being head greenkeeper at Paraparaumu Beach?" And I thought, shit, that's sort of
That'd come out of
that's
nowhere.
Sort of yeah.
Wow.
I didn't really know what to say. I was 23 at the time, and that's probably the home of golf in New Zealand, and to work under Leo, someone that we've sort of looked up to, and he's helped a lot of young guys get on the scene and take that next step. So I really wanted to do it, but I doubted myself quite a bit. I rang another friend of mine who knows Leo quite well and knows me quite well, and I said, "Look, like, can I even do that job? Like, I'm a pretty simple guy, like,
Come on."
And it's a pretty prestigious job, I guess.
It's interesting here you talk about that, because it wasn't just before in the conversation we were talking about confidence, and we're talking about coming back from the UK and Scotland and where you were at Omanu looking for new things. That seems like the first time you kind of questioned yourself a little bit here.
Yeah, I think it was just, I think a lot of greenkeepers would agree with me here. It's very easy to be confident when it's not on your shoulders, I guess. So it's easy to
yes, it is.
sit in the smoko room and think this, or drive home and be like, why did we do that? But when it's on your shoulders, I guess it's that sort of next step. That whole property is
I love this moment in people's careers when responsibility comes home to roost, and you're like, I've been talking about this all the time. I can do this. I can do. Are you going to do it? You're going to do it? Or you've been offered the job. You go, oh, yeah. Well, it becomes
It's a natural thing. I think, like, everyone does greenkeeping differently, and when you're not the boss, sometimes you might not do it how he would have done it. But then I think now, being the boss, I look back to those situations, and you can see 100% why they did things sometimes, because
yes.
green grass is better than no grass sometimes. So, so I spoke to our mutual friend, and he said, look, you've got one of the best mentors there. Like, this is a great opportunity. Leo will be there the whole way, and he was sort of a dual superintendent, general manager. So my role was to run the day-to-day crew, course presentation and stuff like that, and Leo sort of helped with the planning and the budgeting and stuff. So it was that perfect transition into sort of being, I guess, half a superintendent, and having someone like Leo do the half that most greenkeepers sort of, I guess, don't have that much experience in. A lot of us have mowed a lot of grass and done a lot of projects, but haven't. It's really hard to learn the budgets and the communication and people skills until you're actually in the deep end doing it. So I was lucky to get that sort of 50-50 transition, and sort of the responsibility become more and more over the time. Me and Leo had a great relationship and held some really cool events there. So I was there for 3 years, and it was probably by far I guess, different stages of growth, but probably one of the biggest growth periods in my career doing that 3 years there was I did probably feel that I could become a superintendent after that time. I did probably have the confidence then to go for it, So yeah, that was a pretty vital 3 years, and I was lucky to do it at a place like Paraparaumu Beach. So yeah.
Unreal, and certainly the right springboard. With someone like Leo in that dual role of the course and the overall business and the club, knowing you feel like you've got that support there, and you're not completely out in the deep blue sea without a life ring if you need it. And he's able to teach you. You can learn a lot from someone like Leo. That, I imagine, would have been the biggest plus out of being there, like you said. So that's given you the springboard then to have the confidence to go, now I can take myself to the next level of this type of a role, and like you mentioned, so mate, that's what an unreal experience to be there, and learning under someone like Leo, picking his brains. I mean, that's an incredible brain to have, and what a lovely person. I've only ever spoken to Leo a little bit through social media, but what an experience. A lot of people in our industry know him, of course. He's been around a long time and done so much great work at Paraparaumu Beach.
Yeah, I was sort of came in there towards the end of sort of the restoration Leo did there, but he's done a really good job of keeping sort of a time frame and lots of before and afters, and we still did a fair few projects in irrigation, so it was sort of good to, I guess, just it was a perfect place to learn like the land talks, like expose the land and really bring the features out of the land, which in links golf is, I don't think you can really, it's really hard to teach that vision. I feel like you've got to see it and do it with your own eyes on a links golf course to really sort of get that true links experience. So yeah, to be able to do it with Leo and be part of the journey there with a lot of other young guys that have done time with Leo was really cool, and it's sort of the doors opened a lot from there. The amount of people that pop in to Paraparaumu Beach and the connections that Leo had really sort of opened a lot of doors in the industry. Not so much jobs and stuff like that, but more just advice, being able to pick up the phone to, I don't know, someone like Brian Palmer or someone like that, just through meeting through Leo, is sort of priceless as well. So that not many people sort of get that one-on-one interaction, even though these guys would help anyone. It's sort of getting that first sort of foot in the door, which was really, really lucky to be able to do.
Unreal, mate. What a fantastic period of time in your career and your life, no doubt. Like you mentioned, your period of growth, personal growth, going through and learning all those things that you can't. It's not textbook stuff. You kind of, like you said before, you got to be in it. You got to be in the thick of it, and you work it out as you go along, and you evolve in your own ways of doing those things, your own way of managing people, dealing with things in a leadership position. You just got to be in it.
Yeah. And I think it was my first time as well hosting sort of a major tournament. And Leo, a lot of people ask me, so how does it work with Leo being super and head greenkeeper? But Leo was, I would struggle for what he did. He really let us to the golf course, the day-to-day operations. Don't get me wrong, he was probably keeping a close eye on things as well. But yeah, we hosted the New Zealand Amateur there, which was a dual Trials Tour event. So it was really good and it was in February. So it was sort of at a time where if things were going to be tough to manage, it was that time of year. So it was really good to get that first tournament preparation sort of experience and really get it dialed in sort of thing. So that experience as well, I think everyone will remember their first sort of proper event where sort of the TV cameras it wasn't on TV, but there was lots of highlights, so you couldn't really hide from anything. So yeah, it was really cool. Yeah.
Unreal. What a great experience, mate, like I mentioned. Now, you mentioned 3 years there. How does things go for you to move on or move next?
It was a tough time, those 3 years. I moved there not long before COVID.
Okay.
I hadn't been there for very long, and we went straight into COVID. So I have a lot of family in the UK. My mum moved back
right
sort of when I was maybe 17 or something to look after a grandparent. So I hadn't seen mum for about 4 years, which was it wasn't obviously it's nice to see your parents all the time, but it wasn't pleasant. But it just was it. It is what it is. I couldn't change it, so it was sort of. But I got to the point where the borders opened up. I wanted to see Europe and wanted to see mum, and it wasn't a real job. Well, greenkeeping isn't really a job where you can leave for 3 months in a small crew.
That's
And
it.
I'm
Yep.
sure Leo probably would have somehow made it work, but I just felt like it was probably time to maybe go over there, experience Europe, and see the family for a decent amount of time. So I just brought a one-way ticket and worked on a links golf course down south near where my mum lived, called Hayling Island.
So this is in England, the UK.
Yeah. So
Right.
headed over there. It was a very unique golf course. It's a very good links golf course, but I feel it's just so many links golf courses over there that it sort of no one really knows about it. But yeah, it was a good quality links, and and a good experience working on another links golf course over there. Did 6 months there, and I love football, so I was going to a lot of football games. And
Well, hang on. Before you get any further, when you say football, what are we talking about? Because some people call soccer football. Some people call mate. I've got to ask for clarity, please. Football is what?
So English football.
Soccer.
Yeah,
okay,
soccer.
Got it. Okay, because New Zealand Union League. I wasn't sure where we were going. I just had to clarify. Okay, good.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
So you love your soccer, your English football.
Yeah, so we're heading into winter. Winter on a golf course in the UK is not the best times. Pretty cold and yeah, pretty much to sum it up. And there was a job at the local football club. They were in the League One, which is two below the Premiership. And they're a good club. They were in the Premier League for a long time and won the FA Cup in 2008. So they had a big following. So I took that job on. I was sort of knew that I'd only be there for a year or two max in the UK. So it was sort of a cool experience, and also to work at a club that I supported, which was another cool experience. But I never worked in a stadium, and I sort of gained a new appreciation for stadium managers.
Yeah, wow, okay.
Yeah, I've never felt so much pressure in my life trying to produce a surface that's on TV like every other week. Like in golf, we might have like one event a year that we've got a year to prepare for, and if there's a bit of GUR somewhere, I mean, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world. But we've got it on TV every week, and the pressure is, especially on match days when cameras are out and you're line marking and mowing and stuff like that. I definitely gained a new appreciation for the stadium guys, and I don't know if I would go back to doing it. To be fair, I definitely not that I didn't enjoy it. It was definitely a different pressure and different side of the fish. That's for sure.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I've not spoken to really anyone that's worked on too many different surfaces. Again, Brendan just springs to mind because he come from horse racing, thoroughbred horse racing, down in Melbourne. So interesting that I hear that. I hear the different. It's a different game in that the greenkeeping. Whilst it's a different way of doing the greenkeeping side of things, but the biggest part is the pressures behind that audience in a sense, and the pressures behind that. So we come from golf and we look at it and we go, oh, okay, how hard can it be in a sense? But it's actually very different in a way.
Yeah, and like a lot of greenkeepers think golfers are demanding, but you get professional athletes out on a pitch, they're not happy with it's next level.
You can have that one. I can tell you that much. I reckon that would be next level.
Yeah. So the team actually won the league. the year that I was there. So it was probably
Obviously, you were the reason.
well,
That where you were going?
yeah,
I had to jump in, so you didn't have to
no,
say it.
no, but it was a cool environment to be a part of. I could imagine if the club's just been relegated or they're having a relegation battle, I could imagine
Yeah.
the vibe around the staff and the stadium would be a whole lot different. So I was sort of pretty grateful to be experienced on the other side of that.
For sure, that's
Yeah,
you're all in. You're all part of the family, right, of the club. So I imagine
yeah,
you ride the highs and
yeah.
you ride the lows.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was cool experience, and definitely glad I did it. I don't think you could really explain to someone how the demand for like we'd have so many games a season, and the climate there, the growth is just like zero. So to maintain grass is I've never tried so hard to maintain ryegrass.
Very, very different experience overall,
Yeah,
and like you say, unless you've been or you've been able to like be there closely, whether you're in it or next to it, it's yeah, I can't comprehend it. I don't know. Like I say, I watch it. We watched State of Origin last night. Go the Blues. Just had to throw that in. But it's a different ball game. From a greenkeeping perspective, so I can't. I don't know that game that well from the greenkeeping standpoint to understand, like you say, the pressures of it. But it's good that you were able to experience that, and
yeah,
I suppose in a sense, what you then like as you're moving through different things of greenkeeping as well.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was good, and I mean, for young guys, I would say. Definitely give it a shot. I definitely learned things that I could bring into golf as well. Just patience was a big thing there. Like in golf, you can sort of push things pretty hard, but I found in the stadium the just being patient with things, and it definitely taught me a lot in that aspect of things, especially at the training ground where areas are getting hammered, and
Yeah.
yeah, to keep grass a bit longer in different ways to maintain it was definitely a plus. But yeah, I sort of did get sick of the cold at the end of the season, and started looking for jobs back home. So yeah, I was there for about a year and a half. The whole time. So yeah, it was a cool experience, but I did want to get back to New Zealand and get back on the golf course. So yeah.
Okay, so time passes and you're flying back home to New Zealand. Were you flying back to a job, or you were flying back to New Zealand first and then the job would come?
Yeah, so I had a job came up at Muriwai Golf Club as an assistant superintendent. So I sort of looked at that and I thought, yeah, that would be a great job. I did actually apply for one other job prior to that. I didn't get the job. And then Muriwai came up and I thought that would be a great place to get in. I didn't think I'd be able to get a supers job from the UK. Not many come up in New Zealand, so I thought I'd take that whilst I could. And I signed the contract to come back, but I still had a couple of trips left in Europe to do on the way home, so it wasn't like an immediate start, which they were happy with.
Yep.
And then about 2 days after signing the contract, I get a call from the superintendent saying that he's moving on, and yeah, things might be different. So that was a bit of a shock to the system.
Wow.
I sort of knew the guy through other people, so I was looking forward to going to work for him. So yeah, that was a bit of a spanner in the works. And then I got a phone call from the general manager saying, would you be interested in looking at the superintendent role? And I thought, well, this has escalated quickly. Yeah, so I obviously said yes. That was what my goal, to become a superintendent. So yeah, had a few chats with a few people about the course and the role and where they were heading, and yeah, put my name in the hat. And that I'd already done a lot of interviews quite recently with the club, so it wasn't a very full-on interview process. There was just a couple more sort of one-on-ones with a few people, and yeah, they offered me the job and said, would you be able to come back next week? So I really wanted the job, and the I couldn't say no really. So yeah, booked a flight back in a couple of days, and made it work. And the cool thing was the guy that was the superintendent still wanted to be a greenkeeper. He just didn't want to have the role as superintendent anymore. So
Okay.
yeah, they said, "Would you be happy if he stayed on?" And yeah, I was more than happy. It'd be silly to give away that much knowledge of the property
Yeah.
and his experience. So yeah, Bryce is still with us now, and It took a little bit of a while to work things out, as you could imagine, being super
Sure.
and then stepping away and someone else coming in. The dynamics are pretty different. So yeah, it took us a few months to work, sort of learn how we operate, and yeah, things are going really well at the moment. So yeah, really happy.
Wow, mate! Congratulations! What a journey to get to Superintendent Muriwai. I got to ask, did you know Muriwai? Had you been there before?
No, that's the sort of scary thing. I didn't. So I reached back to Leo and said, "Do you know much about the property?" And he knew a little bit, but the club mentioned that they'd just signed on Phil Tatarangi as the course architect. So I reached out to him and sort of said, "Where are we going, and what's the direction and ambition?" And yeah, he was pretty good to talk to, and knew the course from a long time ago, and then also more recently. So yeah, it was good to chat to him and sort of make things a bit more clear and reassure everything, and yeah, sort of hit the ground running, I guess.
Mate, what a journey! That is something to stop and think about. Congratulations again, mate. That's unreal to get to that point. When did you start? What was day one?
So I've been there 2.5 years. I started in, I think it was April to, yeah, so maybe not, maybe March. So you're coming up 2.5 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
23, March
Yeah.
23. Yep.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
24. Is that right? No, 2.5
Yeah.
years.
20.
Anyway, we'll work it out. We're a bit slow.
Yeah. Yeah. A few years ago.
Mate, that is awesome. That's so good. And like I said, what a journey to get through different bits of travel over to the UK, Scotland, that sort of stuff, and learning through someone like Leo Barber in between. That's quite a career path and something that not everyone gets to experience all those different parts of what you've been able to do, which is amazing. So, mate, well done. And leads us nicely into learning a little bit more about Muriwai. It's quite an incredible golf course, and the reason I say that, as I pull out my notes, is that I stumbled across it in a way through Nick Wall from Airswing Media, and I'm a big fan of Nick's, and so quick plug to Nick. But he had been over there, and I'd come across some of his photos, and they showed the bunkers in the black sand that you've got, or the dark coloured sand. I call it black because it looked pretty black. Which was really interesting, and seeing the place, and all of a sudden I quickly go and Google Earth something. I'm like, this is it's the ocean, but it's weird sand colour that's going on. I don't understand if they're dyeing their sand black or what the hell's happening under there. It was just a bit wild, but it looked like a really interesting property. So, mate, if you wouldn't mind, could you start off with just by describing roughly where Muriwai is relative to the world in New Zealand, and then tell us a bit about its features, some of its landscape, what it's all about.
Yeah, so Muriwai is on the west coast of Auckland. It's probably a 45-minute drive from the city.
Okay.
So you're not too far from the city, which is sort of good for people that are flying in. It's always a day trip option, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, the golf course is coastal, right on the water. You can't really get any closer. It used to be a lot closer. I think I should know this stuff a lot better than I do, but about 30 years ago, they had erosion issues. The greens were literally 15 metres from the ocean, and the west coast is pretty raw in New Zealand. So, yeah, they had sand blowing all over the greens, and dunes were getting smaller, and they had a few issues. So the club did a brave thing, I think, and they built sort of 7 holes inland. They brought a forest and rerouted the front 9, which it was the safest thing to do, but unfortunately that land probably wasn't as linksy as the existing front 9.
Yep.
So they moved inland a bit and restarted, I guess, the front 9, and some of the back 9 holes sort of got realigned. I'd say, but more closer to the ocean. So they've been in the ground now for about 30 years and sort of fully established now. Things on the black sand take a while to really sort of settle in and stuff. And it's a warm season golf course, so we've got Kaikuyu wall to wall and brown top greens. So that's sort of a bit of an overview of it. And it's very linksy property, and it's a tough golf course. It's exposed to every element you can think of, I guess. And like you mentioned, the features, I guess, is the beach is black sand and all the bunkers are pure black sand. So it is a cool sort of standout point to many courses in the world, I guess.
It's pretty wild. I've got to ask you, and I don't even know if you know the answer, but where does the black sand, what is black sand? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but a lot of the West Coast in New Zealand is black sand. There are parts that are darker colours than others, but the West, Muriwai and that sort of Piha and north seems to be really dark. Then when you get down to Paraparaumu, it's still not a white sand, sort of like Gold Coast or something, but it's still a blackish sort of sand. So I think it's just must be
just obviously a geological thing, but I wasn't sure if it was if it was gravel. Like, we're literally talking sand, because down in the sand belt they've got some of the darker greyish bits of sand as well. You get some of that different coloured darker sand, but yours is quite black. We're used to, in Australia, traditionally yellows and whites. So traditional sandstone looking colours, but black sand, I thought, was it volcanic type stuff, or is it? I have no idea. You mentioned it was hard for establishment. Is there something missing in the sand? Like, sand is missing every nutrient, but why do you find that? Do you think? Do you know that reason?
It's really where we are. It's very exposed property, so a lot of wind. The sand particles are very fine, so we get quite bad sand blow.
Okay.
And it just, like you said, it just holds no nutrients. So it's not. I mean, it's not impossible. We've grown some grass out there, but it's just a bit more challenging when the weather conditions are against you. It's near on impossible. So you've just sort of got to pick your battles, and sometimes it's not going to work, and sometimes it will. So the products these days are pretty good as well. The wetting agents and things like that definitely help those.
Having all the tools in the toolbox might make a difference in a modern day. There's no doubt about it. Is the sand, does it have, you mentioned it's fine particle size, does it drain well? Do your bunkers drain good? I mean, it's obviously a big sand profile being next to the beach, but is it slow to drain? Is it normal characteristics of sand? I sound like an idiot talking about sand and all this different textures of the way the sand works, but I'm intrigued by black sand.
Yeah, no, it drains really well, and it compacts really well as well. Some of the white sands you find, they don't really firm up, and when you verti drain or spike, they tend to lose that compaction. Well, not that sand can compact, but the sort of firmness,
the way it settles, locks into place a little bit.
Yeah, so we're lucky. We can have. I guess the greens firm all year round, even after rain. After 2 to 3 hours, they can be back to sort of firm greens again. So that's definitely a big plus. In the summer, it can be a little bit detrimental. Things dry out really fast. But I guess being on a links golf course, it's just managing how extreme that is, I guess.
Sure. Pretty impressive stuff, mate. It's like I said, it's anyone to just Google Earth it, because you will be very, very surprised by what you see. I can tell you that much, mate. Tell us a little bit about your team on course? What's it take for you to look after a Muriwai? What does your team consist of?
Yeah, so when I started there, the team was quite small. It's still smallish now, but we were sort of running 5 or 6 guys. And when I got there, the club really wanted to improve. That's one cool thing about working at Muriwai. They really want to get better and invest almost everything they have back into the golf course, which for me is a
That's
real
awesome.
bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, they said how can we get better, and we were sort of that crew size where it's enough to have somewhat one of everything, one fairway mower, one roller, because there's not
Yep.
enough of you to warrant more. But
Yep.
one of the things I said, if we want to improve, we're probably going to need to just up the frequencies of a few things, so rolling and cutting, and so that involved more staff, but then it also involved more people. So yeah, we sort of needed to do those things together, so we weren't had too many machines and not enough people, or too many people and not enough
Not enough
machines.
machines.
So
Yep.
yeah, we're sort of up to we run about 8 guys at the moment.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good number. We have a good volunteer base, which definitely they don't do too much day-to-day maintenance, but on projects, weeks, and stuff like that, they're huge. And some of the stuff we get done, we couldn't really be done. I know everyone says this, but literally couldn't be done without them, or it could be done, but the time scale would be through the roof, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a cool place to work, and I do like the interactions with the members and the staff. It's a very sort of chill, surfy vibe club. It's sort of
Cool.
everyone mixes and mingles. So yeah, I do enjoy that aspect of working there. It's great.
Do you, just thinking about, you talked about you used to play a lot of golf and enjoy playing golf, obviously. Do you get to play golf a little bit yourself as well, as much with that interaction, obviously, with the membership, but do you play golf there too?
Yeah, I love it out there. I probably play probably 3 Saturdays a month. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
wow.
try
Okay.
and yeah, I think it's some greenkeepers will agree, disagree, but I think it's a great way to get feedback from the members. Not so much they need to tell you, but you can just read the room and the vibe and play with people and watch how the ball's reacting. And it's a good way to just show them that I encourage all my guys to play, and just we're normal people trying to do a job and the best we can out there. And I think it's all the time we can just show them that we're just normal people working hard, that I feel like when things maybe not as good, they'll be sort of sticking up for us. Whereas I feel sometimes that sort of pathway can get a little bit disjointed at clubs, and it definitely shouldn't. You're all there working towards the same thing and trying to enjoy the same property. So yeah, I really like that aspect of playing out there, and have found that balance of making some friends out there and working out there and stuff.
That's awesome, mate. It's great to hear that you've got that rapport with the membership, because it is. Maybe it's the small circle of people that I mix with in the clubs that they're in. I don't know, but I would have said it's almost commonplace to be the other way, where you have membership, and it's always the minority. It's always a vocal minority too. So it's only a handful of people, but they're the ones that make life tough. Sometimes I know,
Yeah.
superintendents that go, not happening. I am not playing golf at my golf course as much as I would like to, because I just get hounded as soon as I walk in the club. And I
Yeah.
think I've always said that that's not okay. And for the reason you said, it's like you're all there, you're working hard to do a job, right? You're producing a good quality golf course. And the proof is there for everyone to see. I suppose if it's not great, you already know it's not good anyway, and you're working on stuff. And if it is good, well, then usually silence is the best option anyway.
Yeah. So that one how you said about the members hounding people and that, I kind of I guess they are a very small percent, but I do really enjoy I I like going to those members and saying, "G'day, how's your round going?" and what's happening out there, and really trying to understand what their philosophy is. And I reckon I've worked out a fair few of them out there, like just trying to understand what their theory is, and telling them ours, and I feel like after a few chats, a lot of them come round and they're like, oh, he's actually just normal guy trying to maintain the golf course. I feel like that convo they have with you at the start, they're a little bit apprehensive and they don't probably say what they say to their mates. But I think if you can unlock that sort of divide there, I found it sort of goes away a bit. That might not be the same at every golf course, but just front footing those guys, it's not easy to do, but you just go and chat to them and see what they've got to say.
You know what? That's probably that's the best response I've ever heard to a concern about members that do be vocal to people and do have a bit of a crack sometimes. Is that you sort of, not in a confrontational way, but you get on the front foot and say, listen, hey, I'm happy to listen. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what your thoughts are. Tell me why you think that. And as you say, and it becomes a communication process, because a lot of the time I've found in my own experience, but hearing from some people as well, is that there is a disjointedness between being on the golf course and the people in the clubhouse, be it the members and so on. So if you've got that, if you're keeping that conduit open and you're having those communications with members, it's certainly in person as well. It sounds like that's a great way to get across that you're open to listening to them. You're not closed off to them, and it sounds like that's a great way to break through some of those barriers.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. You'll have those guys that are who they are, and that's cool. But at least if you've given it the chance, there's not a lot more you can do, and that's on them, I guess. If they're really unhappy, then there's always other golf courses around. So
I'd hate to, you know what? There's some people you bump into in life, and you go, if I was that grumpy all the time, geez, I'd have to have a look at myself in the mirror, wouldn't I? Wake up being grumpy at the world. It's pretty rough. But the other thing I'll mention this, and I don't know if you find it. I used to find, because I used to play regularly as well when I was a superintendent, and for me it was important not just to hear what people would say and get a feel for the room, but for me it was important I would see a golf course very differently, because I was a golfer before I was a greenkeeper, right? I found that I viewed the golf course in a completely different way than when I was working on the golf course, because you approach the course differently from the moment you're walking from the pro shop down to the first tee, for example. You don't often do that when you're working. You play it in order, in sequence. You walk in different ways that you would when you're working. I just found I would look at things completely differently from different angles when I was playing golf. For me, it was a good reference point to see what was working and what wasn't working, perhaps.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I feel like it's the best way you can watch people play golf, but sort of get a feel of their round and how they might play the odd shot whilst you're watching, but it's cool to watch a whole round of golf and see how different areas impact different people, and everyone plays golf with different abilities. So it's cool to really mix that up, and that aspect of it is you can't really do it any other way apart from actually doing it, I guess.
Yeah. That's my sentiments exactly, mate. I'm curious, you mentioned turf surfaces, your Kaikuyu wall-to-wall, apart from your greens, which were, what did you say, brown top?
Yep.
Brown top?
Yep.
Lucky Steve, I was listening. Well done, Steve, you done good, 100%. How do you find Kaikuyu? Because we talk about Kaikuyu here in Australia as it's a bit of a dirty word these days. Once upon a time in the 70s, 80s, 90s even, it was not a bad thing because it was aggressive, it was drought tolerant, it was, give you plenty of grass to play on as a golfer from a golfing perspective. Now we sort of curse it here a lot. Lots of people get some good things out of growth regulators to shorten it up and tighten it right up and reduce the plant and slow it down from its ridiculous growth here that we often get with our temperatures. What's it like for you guys? Muriwai sounds like, we'll talk to yourself. I hear passion. I see lots of good things in imagery and videos, but you're the one working the grass. How do you find Kaikuyu at Muriwai?
Yeah, that was one of the big questions when I got there was, and even prior to getting there, was the question from the board and the general manager was like, how do we take this place to the next level? And I probably should have said greens and surrounds brown top before, but the Kaikuyu, when I started there, went to the green edge, and the slopes around the greens at Muriwai are very sort of dramatic, which is great for a links golf course, but quite often you'd find yourself short-sighted or 40 metres out and you wanted to putt the ball or chip and run, and it was just not on the cards. It was just a lottery. So I said to them, if we want to ever compete with the links courses in New Zealand like Paraparaumu and the TRIs and places like that, we have to remove the Kaikuyu. So as a first-time super and only been there 5 minutes, it's sort of a brave thing to say and then have a plan how to do it. So, yeah, Phil Tatarangi was on board, and obviously he knows golf as good as anyone, so that was sort of a big tick for him. And then I sort of just had to weigh up, how do I do this? I wasn't in the position... I didn't have the runs on the board and the confidence from the members purely because I'd only just started, but I didn't want to spray it out and then seed it and not go well and it just be like a sandy mess sort of thing. So I was speaking to Brad up at Cape Kidnappers, and he said just grow some grass somewhere on the range or something and show them what you want to do, how you can produce it, and this is what it's going to be like. So I sort of thought on that. And I said to Phil, what about we spray out the range, 4,000 squares, seed it in brown top, and we turf the first and ninth round? And he was like, shit, yeah, let's do that. So
probably wasn't hard to sell that one.
Yeah, so I sprayed the range out, seeded it in brown top, and sort of Phil's master plan. The club signed Phil on just before I started there, and the whole goal was just to freshen the place up. No major changes, but just small improvements. I guess a lot of golf courses get tired over time, and they're not really designed for... We get about 60,000 rounds a year, so it's pretty high foot traffic place. So, yeah, just sort of bring out the features a bit more. So part of this transition was when we lifted the turf, just to tidy up any bunkers and any runoffs and extents around. So yeah, we grew 4,000 squares. Having that chat with the crew was quite an interesting one, saying we're about to turf the first and ninth round out. But it was the best way to get the members to sort of see the vision. When you say to them, we're getting rid of the Kaikuyu, they all love it because they can, well, I should say all the 10 plus handicappers, they can chip it, they can tee it up, the ball's going to stop and not run miles away.
Yep.
So they couldn't really get it. And when I first did it, they could sort of then see the vision. They were like, wow, this has sort of changed the whole dynamic of how we play the game around the links completely. So we did the first 2 surrounds, and they went really well. And then I thought, we can't really do turf every surround. It's going to take forever. And how can I sort of speed this up a bit? So we ended up spraying Topramazone, which is a herbicide that removes warm season from cool season. And it was a little bit nerve-wracking. We knew there was a little bit of brown top in the surrounds, but how much there was, we did a few trials and in the areas where we could get away with losing grass, and it went better than expected. So we just blanket sprayed the surrounds 3 times, and I think it was in winter, just knowing that we've got a few months to get germination and establishment before we get into summer. So we did that, and we've probably successfully gone from probably 85% brown top to probably Kaikuyu to 85% brown top now. So
yeah, wow.
There's still a little bit of managing process. Kaik's pretty stubborn and pops its head occasionally, but even the stuff that's there now is sort of maintained like brown top, so it doesn't really react like a whole kite surface
because
would.
Because it's not a big full surface of it, so it's the distinct minority, so you don't have that problem anymore of playability.
So we did that for, I don't know, about a year till we got about full cover everywhere, and I was sort of happy with everything. But the members saw 1 and 9, and they were like, if that's the vision, then we're happy to go a year or so with a little bit of seeding here and there. So that went well. And then I sort of, my greens, the brown top there, it just seems to be a great climate for brown top. It's not too humid, sea breeze, and not overly hot in the summer, so it handles it really well. And we don't have a whole heap of mowers and stuff, so I thought, why don't I just mow the greens and surrounds at the same height, and then I can have the greens mowers, greens and surrounds mowers, and the surrounds mowers, greens and surrounds mowers. So I went from having 2 of each to then having 4.
Yeah, wow.
And yeah, so people sort of thought, geez, this guy is off his lid. Like, what is he doing? And yeah, sort of that conversation with the crew was another interesting one.
But you're coming with ideas. Sorry to jump in. You're coming with ideas based on, and I'm hearing this stuff, and after we spoke about your career, I'm hearing you critically think and question what was going on. And it's a case of going, we've done, this is what's been done, but if we're going to go to the next level, we need to think outside the box. There's no point keeping inside the box with those thought processes, because it means you're never going to go anywhere. You can't go outside where you are.
Yeah, and the land is so good around the green. It's not like, British Open good, but it is good links land. So it's like, how do we really showcase these features? And I just thought, maintenance-wise, I can just run both surfaces, same maintenance practice. Luckily, we have the budget to run same wetting agents and primos and so on over them. So, yeah, we trialled it. I waited till my patience is getting better, but when an idea gets in my head, I want to do it yesterday. But yeah, this one I waited until the peak of summer had gone. So I did it in March. So yeah, I've been doing it, well, however many months that is. And it might have even been February. We had a sort of coolish, wettish period, and I just thought, let's just do it now. And yes, I've been mowing greens and surrounds at 4 mil for the past sort of 5 months. And yeah, it's amazing. It is so tight for chipping, the surrounds are still taking their time. They obviously haven't been sanded and groomed like the greens have been over the years, but they are transitioning to becoming like a green surface. But yeah, the feedback from visitors and even members, they're like, this is sort of really taking it to the next level. So yeah, that was sort of the first sort of project, I guess, when I got there, and it's still a managing project, and we're still learning, and whether or not I'll be able to keep doing it, we'll find out, but I do intend to, and there's no reason why not to at the moment.
That's amazing. I love that concept. The only place that I've seen that here is the putting green off the top of my head at Ranfurly, that I went and visited Andrew Anderson, who's the superintendent there. And I'm just throwing that out because I like to reference stuff that I've seen. And when I saw what Andrew had done with his practice green down there, and he'd cut, like it become this, he essentially moved the practice green from just being a big flat practice green to including all the humps and hollows in the surround. So it became this big Himalayas putting green, right, by doing everything. And I looked at it and I was like, that is out of control. And it was the best thing I've ever seen. And he's like, yeah, this is it's working out really, really well. And so I've got that picture of what I've seen, and I'm applying that to what I'm thinking in my head for what you've been doing. But I know what Kaikuya does on surrounds, and I'm thinking that you're not going to have balls stopping on slopes like this to then have chips off it. Balls are going to roll and move right around, right? And I'm thinking to what I watched when I saw there was a tournament that was on either this year or at the end of last year at Paraparaumu Beach. It was the New Zealand PGA. I can't remember which one it was. And Tommy Aldridge is now the super down there. And he, like the slopes and things, which you know well, but I'd never seen the course before. I'm watching what these balls are doing going, this is wild. And that's a professionals tournament. You're obviously less so, not as dramatic. But I've got all this going through my head as you're just telling me now, so I'm just running through it out loud for no one who cares while they're listening. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work it out. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, I call them like the complex now is like 4 hectares. So yeah, whether you want to call it greens and surrounds or the greens are 4 hectare, we try and maintain them the same, but some like weekends and stuff we'll still just mow the greens, not greens and surrounds, just for labour purposes and stuff. So yeah, it's sort of a work in progress. And then getting back to the Kaikuyu, the sort of the black sand and our water source and stuff, I don't think we could ever go away from Kaikuyu. I think we would be mad to do that. We draw water from a stream and we don't have a reservoir, so which is fine all the time. The river's at a certain level. When it gets lower and lower, we have restrictions put in place. Luckily, that hasn't happened since I've been there, but I think if you had a cool season turf out there on the fairways, you could open up a can of worms if the water got reduced. So, it's in the plan to get a reservoir or some tanks and not change grasses, but maybe just be a little bit on the safer side if we were to have a drought.
Yeah, totally. A couple of randoms that just jumped into my head because this is how I work, weirdly. Does black sand heat up deluxe?
Yeah. I reckon you could cook an egg on it in summer.
I mean, I know sand in general on a beach on a really hot day is hot, right? But black absorbs heat. I'm picturing your black sand like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. I hadn't thought of that. How does that go with the sand around your bunker edge? Does it cook stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's a little bit. Luckily, the bunkers hold the sand reasonably well for a links windy course. Okay. But yeah, if you do get sand blow and then get traffic over it, it's not a good recipe for turf.
Yeah, wow. That's an interesting problem to have. And the other one was the Kaikuyu fairways. Do you primo them, your growth regulator, to tighten them up? Is that how you manage that as well?
Yeah, lots of, I shouldn't say lots, but yeah, in growing season we do whack a fair bit of primo out, and I've slowly lowered the mowing heights of them down. I feel like the Kaikuyu plays better the shorter it is, so we're down at about 7 mil with the fairways.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, they to be fair, everyone says that, but I feel like you could cut them at like 5 mil, like the Kaikuyu, just the tighter it is, well, the shorter it is, the tighter it is, I guess. So I played, is it Concord Golf Club at the conference
in Sydney
last year?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was Kaikuyu fairways, I'm pretty sure, and that was sort of a goal. I mean, I probably wouldn't want them as sort of manicured as that purely because we're trying to achieve different things, being links and not links. But that kike was the best I've ever seen for sure.
Well, that's what I was about. I was going to reference Concord for a different reason, but Renaissance Golf and Tom Doak redesigned Concord and they moved away from the Kaikuyu surrounds, which is one of the things that, again, when you mentioned what you had done with the bent grass surrounds, to get a good feel and bounce and use of contours around at Concord, they pulled back all their kike and replaced it with cooch. I think it's Santa Ana cooch that they used at Concord. And they again, I haven't played it since it opened. You mentioned you played it last year. How was it? Great?
Yeah, it was good. It was hard golf course, like the contouring around the greens and stuff. You're in the wrong place. Look out.
Yeah. So again, so they had removed the kike for the similar reasons that is what I understand from a design and playability and architectural perspective. So they put in cooch because it's Sydney, it's hot, and so on and so on. That was the reference point I was going to use. So they've still got their kike fairways. And they manage them to as tight as possible. And you've done a similar thing in that sense. So I was using Concord in my head as a reference. Good to see that you got that one. You got to play that too.
Yeah. So that was. I've been lucky with the two conferences, being able to take a fair bit away from them. So it's been good.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You mentioned water. I like to talk a bit about water because it's very much a thing in Australia, obviously, mainly because of our drier climate. You guys are the land of the long white cloud, as we all talk about it here and reference it here. How do you go? What's your rainfall like where you are? And you mentioned you draw from a stream. Does that mean you have a live feed into your system without the reservoir? I mean, I'm sure that's got its challenges. And do you have a license or an allocation that you have to use? Because that's what we often have here is everyone has pretty much allocations for what they're allowed to use.
Yeah, so pretty much bang on what you said, really. Yeah, so we draw from a stream. So we've sort of got a pipe, you'd say, to keep it simple, in the stream. That sort of, we've got a pump that sucks pretty much straight to the golf course from there, really. So
Wow, okay.
it is a little bit, it's not the best setup. I mean, if something goes wrong, it's not the best. You got to sort of get in the stream, which is, yeah, luckily that it actually happened a couple of weeks ago. We had to get a digger in to replace a foot valve, but touch wood, in the summer we don't tend to get too many storms. Normally it's after a storm, something will wash down the river and cause a few issues. But yeah, so it's sort of all electronic now. It's sort of in the last few years gone to the council have electronic meters and monitor everything and give us updates. But yeah, so I don't know the exact numbers, but if the flow rate of the river gets below a certain amount, our number of how much we can draw per day goes down. It's still always enough to maintain the greens, maybe fairways dial down a little bit, but if it got to a certain level, there is a full cut-off, which has happened once before for a long period, which I don't even want to think about. But
no, let's not go there.
Yeah, but luckily we've got plenty of water to do what we need to do at the moment. But with these agreements, they're sort of every 10 years, so you never know what the next agreement's going to say. So we are sort of going down the route of putting in a big tank and having a bit more of a backup plan as such. So yeah, it'd be a little bit poor from our side if things were to get cut off and we don't have a plan B. I'd feel for the members a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And a tank of any size at least gives you a float to play with, right? So that helps in to a certain extent, just the same. Mate, we mentioned before, and you've touched on Phil Tatarangi and the work that's been done on course. Can you give us a sort of a bit more of an extent? Is that something that's ongoing? What work? I know you're doing stuff at the moment. Tell us a bit about what you're up to right now.
Yeah, so with Phil, it's really cool to have the board agree on a sort of master plan and an architect. So when people come and go off the board or superintendents, the club's going to keep going in the same direction. Unfortunately, you see it a fair bit. A club will get a few years into a plan and some other agenda arises and things get put on hold and then don't sort of restart how they started. So, yeah, it's really nice to have Phil in the works of everything, and he makes my life a lot easier doing a lot of the design work behind the scenes, and he's nailed it out at Muriwai, really. Just the land is really good, but I think when they built the golf course, they had to define a lot of it with sort of trees and stuff. Like you see a lot of golf courses will build the stuff, put lots of bunkers and trees in, and then once the trees are established, realise they've got too many trees and too many bunkers and stuff like that. So yeah, sort of more just bringing the golf course back to the original land. I feel like the land out there is its best feature, so trying to unveil that the best we can and sort of bring it back to what the members call the old course, so before the rerouting happened and the erosion. So yeah, we're just ticking away at the smaller sort of tasks at the moment. It was actually quite pleasing this week. We just finished the second hole, and that's now 6 holes done in like a year and a half of the master plan. So
wow.
Yeah, it's been great. The club's being able to fund it sort of as we go, which sort of we do maybe 2 weeks a year with Phil, so a week at the start of the year and a week at the end of the year, or however it sort of fits in with tournaments and stuff. And yeah, we'll just close a hole and assess each hole at a time and just remove any native trees that aren't sort of doing what they need to be doing, and maybe a lot of it's bunker work. We've got 72 bunkers, and
Wow, 72.
yeah, it's a lot for the sort of all the other stuff that's going on there. So yeah, sort of making the ones that are there meaningful and getting rid of the ones that are sort of in no man's land, and just Phil's very good at sort of making it fun, I guess, not penalising people, but still having it challenging, so all levels of golf can enjoy it. So, yeah, just sort of looking at each hole and saying, how can we give people the option to use the slopes, and then if they miss the slopes, they might have a sort of trickier approach and stuff like that. So just the odd thing, and then just the basic stuff like making tee decks bigger and improving irrigation where we need to and expanding short grass. So, yeah, it's really cool to be doing it with Phil. And I think the next sort of, if we had this chat in a few weeks, the answer might be different. But, yeah, we're having a sort of maybe some new golf holes in the pipeline. So, yeah, it's getting that finalised and hopefully putting that to the members to sort of reroute a couple of the old holes that the erosion aren't quite as bad. So, yeah, it'd be really cool to do that project and sort of keep the master plan flowing whilst everything's going well.
Yeah, that's huge. And is that, not knowing, I can only speak for here, so we had obviously a big change in the way golf is taken up by society in general post-COVID. Was that something that happened in New Zealand just the same?
Yeah, 100%. We are full. Our membership's capped, and
wow.
Yeah, so it's good. We've got a waiting list, and yeah, it's sort of really it's a tough balance at the moment because we want to progress so much, so we need the income, but then it's also disruption is also hard when you've got a lot of golfers. So yeah, it's that finding that balance of those two things is quite key. But I feel like the 6 holes we've done, the members have really, I think the turfing side of things, that range that we sowed in brown top, any work we do sort of around the greens, we turf straight back. So the playability's there. I think I calculated up actually this week we would have stripped 7,400 squares off that nursery. So we've pretty much stripped it twice now over a year and a half, which has been sort of cool, and sort of to do it sort of, I guess, all in-house, I guess, is kind of cool, keeping costs to a minimum, and Phil's out there on the tools, so which also helps things get through the week a bit faster and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's unreal. Certainly great to hear that that's the way the club's going. They're able to do the investment on the whole. The membership are on board. It's, you're all in, and you've got someone like Phil who's all in and able to improve Muriwai in the way that you are. It sounds fascinating and sounds very, very good to listen to as well. The fact that you got a full membership makes a big difference.
Yeah, it's reassuring knowing that the membership's going to keep coming in every year, and it's sort of a bit of a reassurance that if we do want to keep investing down that path, it's always going to be appreciated and stuff like that. So yeah, it's sort of, I guess, improving things, but also not changing it. Sort of, we want to say you turned up tomorrow, we'd want you to be able to not tell the holes we've done, if that makes sense, but them still be good golf holes.
Yeah, bloody oath. No, that's awesome, mate. Fantastic to hear. And probably a little bit of what I was sort of wanting to get from you more and specifically in wording rather than, we've listened to all the parts of the golf course and the way that you're working about. I was just curious to some of your core beliefs on golf course presentation, and I think you've touched on some of those things. We touched on, green speed and what your thoughts were on that. You mentioned about firmness more so than speed early on, and where you've come from and what you've learned and what you've seen. What are some of core beliefs beliefs about the way a golf course should be presented and the experience for golfers when they come. What is that? What you have? What do you have there for Muriwai in your brain?
Yeah, for me, I guess it's I do like the history aspect of golf, so I do like I guess keeping things sort of how they were intended back in the day, but I also do like playing golf like fun as well, and I feel like that comes down to the course design quite a bit. There's a lot of golf courses out there that are great land, but they're sort of lacking the sort of, I guess every golfer can't really enjoy it to the same level, so I feel like that's a real art, and I feel like the architects these days are doing that even more, trying to get the bigger putting surfaces, the bigger fairways, and sort of using the land and having fun. So, yeah, I feel like the enjoyment of golf needs to be up there, and I feel like with more young people playing, the sort of casual seriousness of it is a big business point. Now you've got a lot of guys sort of my age just wanting to go out and play golf and play fast and have beers after, so you've sort of got to cater to all aspects, and I feel like you can make a fun golf course hard, but it's hard to make a hard golf course fun sometimes.
Oh, that's a good line. I like that. I'm going to use that somewhere. That sums it up really well, because that's what it's all at the end of the day. I was having this conversation with a golf course architect not long ago, actually, about how golf has sort of changed, certainly more in Australia, where there's just golf has become only competitive golf for so long now. It's like every time anyone wants to go, this is an Australian thing, I know this, because it bugs me deluxe. So I don't do that anymore. I don't play golf for competition. So if I want to go and play, there's only certain times of the week that I can go and play on a golf course that doesn't have a competition, right? If it's even a semi-private course where it's open to the public, they go, oh, Wednesday's our comp day, and Thursday's a comp day, and Monday's this comp day, and then it's Saturday's a comp day. So it's really only Sunday or whatever. And even Sundays, if you play between these hours, it's a comp. So you can only play really early, you can only play really late. And I'm like, I just want a round. So that's all I want. Yeah. I just want a round. Yeah. And because golf has evolved to that point, we play golf differently. We play with this competitive tone all the time. And even people who go and play, they always want to, throw some dollars around. And that's fine. And that's a lot of fun as well. But for me, I just like to go and just enjoy it. Maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe I am the problem. I'm not sure. I just love to enjoy company, good company, and the space I'm in. I don't need to score. I don't need to. I can go around without a card and a pencil. Not a problem, thank you.
Yeah, we've sort of trialing or have sort of done this new tee system at Muriwai where we've just called them the Muriwai tees, and for some events I take all the other tee markers in and I just put these tees wherever I feel like on the day. So it might be a screaming southerly, so we could put the 9th forward and the par 4 becomes 190 metres, and then there's no set par or routing or length or so. And I feel like we'd have 60,000 rounds, and I feel like 50,000 of them are off the same tees. The same guys play the same tees at the same time, which it's all good if it makes them happy, but I do feel like that sort of alleyway of mixing things up is getting like I was actually sick on the last day of the conference, but Phil went to Long Island to have a look at the 3 routing course.
I saw it just before the conference, and I loved it.
Yeah, I feel like the more people do that and do it well, I feel like the more it'll feed down into your everyday club courses. So yeah, fully on board with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just another way to consume golf, right? Competition golf isn't for everybody, and I've got to a point in my life where I just couldn't care less about competition golf. I played enough of it when I was young, right? And I love match play. I don't like comp golf. I'm a big match play fan. That's just such a different ball game. It's so much more fun to compete with. It's just a head game more than anything as well with your opponent. It's just so much fun. But I like it. So I was just curious to your beliefs about course setup and presentation and some of those things. It's interesting to pick people's brains about that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like each course having their own identity, like not because a certain course does it this way doesn't mean you all have to do it that way. Like if the course is set up for a certain way because it suits that land, like that's how it is. Like some of the best courses in New Zealand are the ones with sheep around it and just sort of that sort of feature and culture. Like it's just, I feel like being unique sometimes is like the biggest sort of strength to some of the courses. And I feel like some parts of the world, it's sort of every golf course. I think Richard even touched on it in the conference, like all the courses going to the same grasses and styles and stuff. I feel like it's a cool thing to be unique and be different. And if Kaikuyu works at your golf course, just embrace it. And you know, I don't really like the word sustainable, but some courses require different grasses and different layouts and lengths, and so just sort of eyes up footy, as I like to say.
That's it. And it's okay to be you as a golf course. It's okay to be you. You don't need to go and be something else. You don't need to go and copy something else like that. So, Harry, what a whirlwind tour, mate! I think that's a great place to finish up our conversation. I really enjoyed listening to your career path and your career journey, mate. Going over to Scotland and coming back and then going back and doing football fields and coming back and. Mate, and the rise up to Muriwai, and you're all in there. Mate, this has been outstanding. And congratulations on your career path, mate. But I've loved every minute, and even the deep dives and the rabbit holes afterwards, mate. It's always a lot of fun. I hope people have enjoyed it. I certainly have. And I want to say thank you, mate, for coming on. It's been an absolute blast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for all the other podcasts you do. I'm pretty sure a lot of greenkeepers appreciate it, and your voice is going through a lot of fairway mowers, I can tell you that.
No, thank you, mate. I appreciate the kind words as always. You keep doing what you do best, mate. You're kicking ass over there, and I love following it, and please keep sharing it with me because I love to talk about it as well. And, mate, I look forward to following your career thus far, and anytime we get a chance to catch up, mate, in person is always good. Hopefully soon I'll be able to make a trip over to New Zealand at some point. But, mate, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Harry Middleton, Superintendent at Muriwai Golf Links, thank you again.
Cheers, thanks.
How good was that? Harry Middleton, Superintendent from Muriwai Golf Links in New Zealand. A big thank you to Harry for taking the time out to jump on the pod and share everything about his career thus far, where he's travelled, where he's been, how he's got the passion, built the passion within himself about being a greenkeeper, being a superintendent, and then sharing with us the details about Muriwai Golf Links. It sounds like a fantastic golf course. If you're over there, go and have a look at it. Go and check it out. Otherwise, if you're like me and you haven't got a chance to do it at the moment, go and follow him on socials. Follow Harry and follow Muriwai Golf Links on socials. And I'll have those linked in the show notes as well. They're going to be tagged in some of the social media posts that I've got. I've got some photos to share. Thanks to Harry, I've got some photos to share on socials as well. But go and follow them on social media. Search for them because it is a sensational golf site. Please check out the show notes. There's lots of clickables in the show notes. As I always say, I want you to make sure you go and check them out because there's so many things that were talked about in this episode of the podcast. I've done all the homework for you, so there's no need to waste any more time. Please like, share, and subscribe. So I want you to subscribe to the Golfing Greenkeeper podcast so you can stay up to date with the next segments as they're released. You get notifications. It's the easiest way to do it. You know when things are coming out. It goes ping, and then you can just click on it and press play. Very simple. Pass it around to people who you think might be interested in these subjects and topics of discussion. We've got a wide range of segments on the podcast now, lots of different topics, and hopefully many of you out there are enjoying more of the content that's coming out. We've got so many things happening, so many conversations, so many guests. It's wonderful to be able to have so many people agreeing to be on this podcast and sharing their stories and sharing this deep insight that we're able to get as part of the relationships that we have with so many people across Australia and New Zealand. Lots more to come. Any reviews would be amazing. 5 stars is the best way, but I do appreciate any comments as well, and reviews go a long way to helping lift the podcast to new heights. So thank you very much in advance for doing so. Ladies and gentlemen, please check out podcast partner of Keeper of the Greens, John Deere, and you can go to them simply at deere.com.au and check out the products that they have available, the machinery that they have available. Just got to talk to them to find out more about it as well, because most importantly, it's the level of support that they have for you in your role as a greenkeeper, as a superintendent, whatever level you are in this wonderful industry of ours, the greenkeeping industry, right across Australia and New Zealand. John Deere Golf are the people you need to talk to. I will leave you with it, ladies and gentlemen. As always, you hit them clean, we'll keep them green, and I'll catch up with you very soon.